Om Namah Shri Yatirajaya Vivekananda Suraye Satchit Sukha Swarupaya Swamine Tapaharine. Namaste everybody. My name is Swami Chidekananda. I'm speaking to you from Advaita Ashram, Kolkata on behalf of Prabuddha Bharata. Recently we've started a new series in commemoration of the 125th anniversary of Prabuddha Bharata entitled Conversations with Writers. Every month we'll be interviewing a new writer and asking him or her to present their article, followed by question and answers. Today we're in for a very special treat. We have revered Swami Nityasthananji Maharaj, the secretary of the Bengaluru Ashram. Previously, he was an Acharya and Training Center. He's one of the prolific writers and thinkers of our order, especially in the field of yoga and psychology. In fact, recently he wrote a small book that is being published by Advaita Ashram. It's a collection of a series of articles from Prabuddha Bharata. It's called Psychological Aspects of Spiritual Life. Those who are interested can purchase from our Advaita Ashram website. Today, Maharaj will speak about how to sublimate psychic energy. Swami Yatishwaranji used to say that without the sublimation of psychic energy, one simply cannot make progress in spiritual life, whether they're a follower of the path of knowledge, meditation, or karma yoga. One needs to understand how to sublimate psychic energy. So how do we do that? And how do we do that in this present age of distraction? Revered Maharaj will show us, give us guidance today based on his article which was published in the June issue. And with that, I request Maharaj to please present his paper before us. Thank you.
This is the article on sublimation of psychic energy. I now present the ideas of that article in a brief manner. I identified 3 different faculties of the mind, that is thinking, feeling, and willing. Sanskrit it can be termed as Alochana Shakti, Bhavana Shakti, and Ichha Shakti. Now, how to sublimate these different powers of the mind? The first is the Alochana Shakti is there. That is thought processes. When we look at our mind, you see so many thoughts keep on coming one after the other. Sometimes they are organized, sometimes disorganized, half-disordered way they come and go. Sometimes they are good, sometimes they are bad. So how to channelize them in a proper manner? You have to take up certain subject matter and think deeply about that. You must develop the habit of deeply thinking about something. Take up certain subject and go on thinking about it, questioning and thinking. Through that, you know what happens when our thought process gets channelized. That is how you come to arrive at certain concretized ideas, concretized knowledge. That is how our informations, our ideas, our thoughts get concretized, crystallized in a different thought patterns. So that is one way of sublimating and sublimating our thinking process. Another important faculty of the mind is feeling or emotions. Emotions are very powerful. It plays a very important role in our life. Because every actions, whatever that we do, whatever that we think, all these things are influenced by some kind of emotions, whether positive or positive or negative. So we have to sublimate them. You have to channelize these energies also, emotional energy also. So there are, I have given certain technique of how to channelize, how to sublimate these emotional energy. The first one is, I have spoken about the dispassionate action, that karma yoga. Through the karma yoga, doing the action without any self-motivation, only for the sake of, either for the sake of doing the work as a worship of God, or doing the work as a service to the society. With that idea, if we are able to perform all our actions, then what happens, most of our negative emotions, negative energy gets sublimated. This is how we have to sublimate our emotions. Another way of sublimating our emotions is creative activities. We have to indulge ourselves in different kinds of creative activities. One can be creative in any field of activities. So we have to see how we must improve our actions, improve our activities, how to make our actions and activities more useful to the society, more useful to the institutions. With that idea, if we are able to perform the activities, it becomes more and more creative and more satisfying to fulfilling to our life. So that is how it is possible to channelize or sublimate our negative emotions and converting into positive emotions. So that is why we must have certain higher ideals. With the background of that higher ideals, holding on firmly to that higher ideal, then if you are able to perform all the actions, all the activities according to that higher ideals, keeping that higher ideals always at the back, then our actions becomes more sublimated, our emotions becomes more sublimated. So that is why you have to sublimate our emotions through the different kinds of activities, especially creative, developing some kind of creativity in ourselves. Creativity need not always confine to the different kinds of art processes. It can be applied even in ordinary activities also. So that is why we have to, through that, we will be able to get a sense of fulfillment. Through that, we get some kind of inner satisfaction. By that, the emotions get sublimated, negative emotions get converted into positive emotions. Another important faculty that I refer to, another way of sublimating the negative emotions is Pratipaksha Bhavana. Pratipaksha Bhavana. Pratipaksha Bhavana is whenever there is some kind of negative thoughts, negative ideas, negative emotions creeping up in our mind, we have to bring in the opposite thoughts. For example, the hatred can be nullified through the thoughts of love and understanding and cooperation and all that. Many times, because of the different situations you have to face in our life, negative emotions, normally it comes. For example, there are worries are there. So many different kinds of worries are there. How to sublimate these worries? How to convert? We have to deeply think about it. Why I should worry at all? What is the cause of my worry? We have to put in rational thinking. We have to start thinking rationally. Then what happens? Most of our worries will disappear. Most of our fears also will disappear. So that is how we have to sublimate our different kinds of negative emotions. The Pratyapeksha Bhavana is most useful and powerful means of sublimating the negative emotions. Another way is prayer and forgiveness. That also I spoke about in the articles. For example, in the society and in a family, etc. Normally what happens, we get hurt by so many people. People will talk something, adversely. Something, it will create a negative emotions in our mind. Some hurt feelings will create in our mind. People hurt us. We also hurt others. It is quite natural. In an institution or a family, it is not possible to remain without being hurt. It is quite natural. So then what you have to do, when that hurt feeling comes, immediately we have to sublimate it through rational thinking. By one of the way of doing it is forgiveness. Whoever hurt us, we have to forgive them. From our within from the depth of our heart, you have to forgive them, because I expect others to forgive me when I do certain mistakes. So similarly, I must be able to, in a position to, I must have that attitude of nobility of forgiving others' mistakes also. And another point, I must be in a position to understand my own mistakes, accept my own mistakes. Normally, what we do, we don't want to accept our own mistakes. We commit certain mistakes, we hurt others. We are also capable of hurting others, but we don't admit it. Admitting that this is, of course, I made this mistake. This is my mistake. I have done this. So this kind of magnanimity of accepting my own mistakes will help us in sublimating our negative thoughts, eliminating our negative thoughts, the negative reaction that comes to us. So that is a very important thing we have to remember in our mind. So another thing is prayer. Prayer is most important, very effective means of sublimating our emotions. So whenever somebody hurt us, we have to deeply turn our attention to God and pray for them. And pray for ourselves also. We have to pray deeply to God. Please help me in overcoming this kind of hurt feeling. I should not entertain this kind of hurt feeling, because what happens when if you go on entertaining these hurt feelings, then what happens when it gets aggravated? Then I only suffer because of that. It's not others. I only suffer. Hurt feelings get aggravated. I feel more and more hurt. Then what happens, they call it pain body. They call it pain body. Pain body is created in our mind. When that pain body becomes aggravated, then what acute, then what happens, every small things will hurt me. That is why you must always know that hurt feelings will only hurt me only, not others. There is a nice saying in English, the anger is the price we pay for somebody else's mistake. So somebody else is, for example, if somebody talks ill of me, it is their mistake. But why should I get punished getting angry over it? I should not. So that is why I must be able to think rationally, and through prayer, through forgiveness, I must be able to overcome that. It is possible. It happens. It works. Definitely it works. Especially through prayer, it works. If you are able to pray for his own good, for example, nobody, as I said in the article, nobody hurts me unless he is already hurt. Purposefully, nobody will hurt us unless he is already hurt within. Some kind of hurt feeling must be there within him. So that is why we have to sympathize with him. So pray for his good. Then what happens, it helps me also, it helps him also. So that is why you have to create an atmosphere in institutions, in a family, mutually praying for each other. That is very important. Mutually, every day, praying for each other's good. Then our relationship also will improve. Human relationship also will improve. Our hurt feelings also will get nullified, eliminated. We will be able to free from those hurt feelings. So that is these are the different means of sublimating our emotions, negative emotions. This another important faculty that I spoke about is Ichha Shakti. Ichha Shakti means it's a willpower. Willpower is the most important thing. It controls all our desires and emotions, negative thoughts, and all that. It is the most important faculty in our mind. So that is why we have to develop that Ichha Shakti, develop that willpower. How to develop that willpower? Constantly applying that one. Every small bit of things also you have to apply that one. Yes, some desires come. No, I must be able to say no to it. No, this is not the time for it. I should not entertain this desire. I should not try to fulfill this desire. It is harmful to my spiritual life. Like that, we have to think and apply our willpower in every bit of things, everything that we do. So that is why if you are able to, through that, our willpower will increase. For example, our meditative life, our strong willpower is necessary. You have to develop the strong willpower to control the thoughts, different kinds of thoughts, negative emotions and all that. So that willpower you have to develop. That strong willpower will help me in controlling our desires, controlling our emotions, controlling all kinds of temptations. All these things are controlled when we are able to control all these things, our senses, our mind, our desires, our all these temptations, etc. Then what happens? Tremendous energy will be developed in us. That energy is called character excellence, the strength of character. When that strength of character is there, strong strength of character is there, then what happens? All the things will get controlled. Everything else will be controlled. Swami Vivekananda says, it is the character that cleaves its way through the adamantine walls of difficulties. Whenever difficult situations come, normally in life we have to face so many difficult situations and problems and all that. It is a character that through which we will be able to overcome those things. So that is why you have to develop a strong character. To develop strong character, you must develop willpower also. So this is how I have highlighted these important means of sublimating the psychic energy, classifying the psychic energy into three parts. One is Alochana Shakti and Bhavana Shakti and also Ichha Shakti. And this thinking and feeling and willing. This is normally in the Western psychology, they classify the mental faculties into three: thinking, feeling, and willing. So there is controlling the psychic sublimation of psychic energy means is controlling all the different faculties of the mind and sublimating, channelizing at a higher level. That is how this can be sublimated. So I have given one example also how the crude oil is refined. The crude oil is that petroleum crude oil. That is in a stage by stage it gets refined. First it gets refined into kerosene and diesel and petrol and white petrol, something like that. It higher and higher level of energy it gets transformed. So similarly, we have to transform our mental energy also higher and higher level. First, through the different capacities you have to develop, different talents you have to develop, then spiritual energy, it gets transformed itself into spiritual energy. So that's the ultimate state of our psychic energy. So that is how we have to, in a stage by stage, we have to gradually, we have to sublimate our psychic energy stage by stage. This is a gist of the articles I have spoken now. Now, if you have got any question to ask,
Maharaj.
I will try to answer.
Yes, Maharaj, thank you so much for this wonderful talk. I had a couple of questions on behalf of the devotees. One was, can you please suggest any practical ways to strengthen the willpower? If people seeing this talk, if they want to say tomorrow, start to try some practical steps they can do for strengthening the willpower.
For example, willpower, as I told you, willpower can be applied in a different activities of our life. For example, a student is there. He has to study. He has to sit for study. Before sitting for study, he must have a sankalpa, determination. 1 hour I must study. 1 hour I must study. I should not divert my attention to anything else. Whatever may be, what may come. So I'm with that firm conviction, with that firm determination, I must be able to sit. Every time when I undertake certain things like this, we must do sankalpa. Then what happens, mind gets controlled. Mind listens to this. For example, even during meditation also, before starting meditation, I must sankalpa, do the sankalpa. 1/2 an hour I sit for meditation. Only I meditate, nothing else. I will not allow other thoughts to interfere me. With that determination, if I am able to sit and start meditation, then definitely my quality of meditation will improve. So this is in every active undertaking, you have to apply this method of putting our willpower, every action, every undertakings, we have to do that one. That is why in our tradition, the sankalpa is there. For example, before doing the puja, before doing the homa, etc., we do sankalpa. With that sankalpa, we start doing it. So the sankalpa, what is mean? What is the idea of doing the sankalpa? Not allow other thoughts to come, not other things to interfere within me. I have to firmly determine myself to do this completely with fulfill it, accomplish it without any disturbance. So this is the value of the sankalpa, ichha shakti. Every time, for example, desire comes, immediately I must know it, what it is, and immediately I must be able to say, no, this desire I should not allow. This is harmful to me. If you are able to, for example, some kind of, the TV serial or something like that, it is not very conducive to my life, especially spiritual life, I must say no to it firmly. No, I should not watch this one. If I am able to do that one, my ichha shakti, the willpower will increase. But to increase this willpower, I must have an higher ideal to hold on to. That is very important. Higher ideal to hold on to. With holding on to that higher ideal only, it is possible to control my willpower.
Maharaj, I want to ask you, do you think it's more this cultivating this ichha shakti? Do you think it's more difficult now in this present age than it was maybe 30 years ago, 20 years ago, because we have this mobile, this internet? Do you think that these technical devices are weakening our willpower?
Of course, everything has got its own weakening effect on the willpower. It is true. But nowadays, because of the media, social media, so many diversions are there. But it's a great challenge for us to develop a greater willpower to face this problem. That is very important. We have to face this problem every time, for example, as I told you, we have to discriminate what is good and what is bad, what is to be accepted. Even in informations also, we must be able to sift what is good, what is beneficial, what is necessary for me. Sift of so many useless informations are there. Debris are there. We have to sift out what is it, what is good for me, what is useful to me. That is very important. That kind of, unless we develop this kind of will, we get it just, carried away by it. We will be simply drowned. We will not have any peace of mind at all. This is very important point. Is it not? So that is why you must, even at this juncture also, you must be able to apply this willpower. And so there are so many people also are there, even in the outside world also, they apply this kind of willpower and accomplish so many different things. Is it not?
Sure.
Yes.
Maharaj, another question somebody had regarding creative activity. What if the nature of one's work is mechanical by nature? Say answering calls, washing dishes, driving taxis.
Yes.
In other words, the work
Yes.
lacks scope for creativity.
So this is, the mechanical, you said some of these mechanical actions,
Yes.
activities.
So how do we cultivate creativity in these types of activities?
Any kind of activities can be mechanical without self-awareness. Without self-awareness, without kind of awareness, if you do it, any actions, it is not only what the actions that you have mentioned here, any actions can be mechanical. It becomes mechanical and boredom. So that is why what you have to do is, you have to either convert it as a service to the society. For example, all these activities you mentioned, that also can be converted as a service to the society depending upon my attitude towards that work. You have to change my attitude towards that work. Even mechanical work, for example, sweeping the floor. It's so mechanical. But so sweeping the floor also is a great service to the society. Even the driving the Uber, no, driving the Uber, taxi, that is also a great service to the society. So many people are getting benefited by that. Earlier, they have to search for the taxi going outside. Now, immediately it comes just before at the door of our house. So that is a service. So even all the activities can be converted as a service to the society. If you are able to, that's why Swami Ranganathanji uses the term imaginative sympathy. You must have heard about that, imaginative sympathy. You have to imagine how the society is getting benefited by the work that I am doing. For example, a person is there, he is doing the clerical work in a particular office. If he is able to do it properly, honestly, promptly, then it is a great service. He is rendering a great service to the society. You must imagine that one. That imaginative sympathy he must have. Then what happens, his attitude towards the work will change and he will derive greater satisfaction and fulfillment through the work. That's what I feel. So that is how you have to. Otherwise, you have to do it every work as a worship to God, as a worship of God. So these are the two ways of deriving the greater satisfaction and fulfillment through the work, whatever may be the work. Whatever kind work, nature of the work is not important here. Our attitude towards the work is most important. Yes.
Maharaj, can you also, you wrote about the concept of information overload. I think you quoted Jeremy Rifkin. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
So information overload, that's already I told you about that. There are so many different kinds of informations, through the different medias. Nowadays, so social media is so open and so much of information beamed into our brain and you are not able to digest them properly. Swami Vivekananda says, the information that is not digested properly, it leads to intellectual dyspepsia, he says. So you must know how to digest these informations, how to organize them, how to synthesize them, how to make them into a concrete knowledge, concrete form of knowledge. For example, I gave an example in the article itself. I gave, I think, for example, every day is read newspaper. So by reading the newspaper, I must develop the idea of what is the state of political state in this country now. What is the social condition at present now? So depending upon my own educational background and cultural background, I must be able to come to a definite conclusion about that. What is the state of politics in India? In what way it was going to help the country or the society? What is its impact in future? So all these things I must be able to come to certain conclusion, but for that it requires a deep thinking. When you are able to take up a particular subject and thinking deeply about it, all those other information that is not related to that, it gets shifted. I will hold on to those particular informations only and try to think about these. That is how some of the articles are produced, books are produced, all these things are, even now they are doing that. So that is why this most important point, you must develop the capacity of sifting the information. What is necessary is viveka. Viveka is important, very, very important. You must develop that capacity. What is good and what is bad. Everyone it is necessary. Is it not?
Yes, yeah. Very true, Maharaj. Okay, I think that's about it, Maharaj. I want to thank you so much for this excellent talk, Maharaj. And I request if you'd like to give a closing prayer, Maharaj, or do you have anything else you'd like to add? I think you covered all of the points. Maharaj, we could go to one before we sign off. one additional point. You mentioned in your article about Karen, a crack addict, and how she was able to see
Ah,
the function of her brain and see the different thoughts on a fMRI
yes, yes.
machine. And so
Yeah,
being
yeah.
able to see that,
Yes, yes.
being able to see that those different thoughts on a machine helped her to gain conviction about the negative consequences of thinking bad thoughts. So what if we don't have access to an fMRI machine? So how
It's
do we
only
gain
an
that
example.
conviction? Yeah.
It is only an example. We must to develop a faith, real faith, how it is going to affect in the brain. So whatever that pratipaksha bhavana you do, for example, I have got some kind of bad habit or something like that. I have to overcome that one. How to overcome that one? I have to bring in the opposite of it. So you go constantly doing and thinking about opposite things. Normally, the pattern of the brain itself will change. That is sculpting, brain, neurosculpting they call it nowadays. Neurosculpting. You can do that. It is possible to change the network of the network of the brain itself. It is possible to change. This fMRI is only to show how it happens. With that, you must develop the faith that whatever practice I do, it has got a definite effect on the personality. Definite. In course of time, it is going to change my personality. You must develop that faith. That is most important. It is not that you have to accept all these different kinds of sophisticated machines and all. It is not possible. It is not practical also. The only thing is you must develop that faith. It is definitely happening. It happens. Is it not? Yes.
Okay. Maharaj, thank you so much. This has been very, very informative and very lucid. Would you like to give a closing prayer, Maharaj, before we sign off?
I'm very happy that this article is being liked by many. I think it is going to help at least some people, few people at least, to sublimate their psychic energy and with the help of some taking up certain higher ideals in life and do some creative work with the help of this and contribute something very substantial to the society and sublimate their life also. I feel that it will help at least few people to change their life and live a very noble and ideal spiritual life, contributing immensely to the society. That is what I expect. That is what I pray. I am very happy that to attend this interview and give some few more ideas about the subject. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.